I got a raised hand. I don't know if this is a question, but all right, Jen. So I'm gonna let you transition over. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. You can pull yours up, but let me check the chat.
Great job, Josh and Shondell. I took a lot of notes here, and I'm watching while Shondell is talking and Josh is talking. I'm looking through who's on here because obviously we're broken out into different Zoom rooms, and there's 27, well, 25 people actually here because Josh and I are zoomed in twice, so I can share my screen. But if you guys are not taking notes, that's the beginning of everything. It's not going to work out. This is not going to work out for you because you got to work it, right? And remember, you don't have to do this forever. The things that Josh is going through, yes, that's mentality, and so you can get your mind right. Then Shondell just went through the reasons why, right? Why is that? Samir got up one time, I don't know what year it was, but I was brand new, and he said, how you think about something is how your attitude is going to determine how your attitude is about that one thing. And how your attitude is about that one thing is going to determine your activity. And how that activity looks like is going to determine your results. So it's not so much what you're doing, how are you thinking about what you're about to do, right? Do you see that it's a non-negotiable to double digit recruit? Because you don't have to do this forever. You think about it, Bruce forgot about us 1 week, right? We were sitting around for 20 minutes, right? Because we don't have 20 minutes to waste. But for Bruce, we'll sit around and wait because hey, is he okay? Usually the guy wouldn't forget about us. This guy was on a plane. Why? Because he can do so. Who cares about us, right? We should be working anyways. But it's so funny that he was just like, sorry guys, my bad. He didn't say he forgot about us, but he did. We know. But we were like, okay, guys, well, peace. Let's go back to work, right? He forgot about us. He's a financially independent, but he did it in 7 years. And now he's just putting his time willingly in us. So if you're not willingly getting on the double digit call, then what are you doing, right? Because you only got your couch to go back to if you really think about it. So the winner's circle is a lot different. As much as Shondell can keep saying it's going to be life changing, it's going to be life changing. Just like we say, this fast start school is going to be life changing. The convention coming up in 7 months, it's going to be life changing. Nobody, if you have not been to the convention, if you have not been to a fast start school, if you have not been on the double digit call, you don't know how it is life changing. But even if you have been on the double digit call and you got kicked off, I'm talking to certain people here, right, on my team, and it's because you weren't paying attention, right? I'm gonna say it. I'm talking to my team, just like Shaq talks to our base. If you're sitting here and you're not here, if you're here, be here mentally. Don't look at your phone. We know that there's certain people that are projects, but if you keep working with projects and focusing on projects, you're gonna end up in the projects. So make sure that when you're here, you're here. Take notes, but yes, implement them, right? So as Chanel and I go over all of this, I just wanted to say that because hey, you got to keep it simple, but it all starts with how your attitude is and how you think about what you're saying because it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So you can make a change like Chandel said immediately, guys. It doesn't have to take forever. You can change immediately. Let me share my screen. Man, the stuff Chandel and Josh went over was so good. Can you guys see it, Chandel? Yeah, great. We're about to end really early. Awesome. All right. So, how to book the webinar and do the follow up. Two things that all you have to do, all you need to know how to do to catapult your double digit recruiting. And the key is consistently, guys, not once a month. Okay. You got to do numbers consistently daily. All right. Not once a month, not once a year. Make sure you compress these time frames so you can compound the results. So, let's talk about booking the webinar invite. Everyone on this thread should know we use a Steam script, of course, to start off the conversation with a potential recruit when we call that prospect. However, when you get to the end of the Steam script, that's when we start booking them for the webinar invite. And it's not so much the word for word, because obviously, again, it starts in your mind, but there's certain points that you have to hit on so you can set that expectation. So let me call on somebody real quick. I'm gonna pick on Josh Riddle. Joshua Riddle. Hey,
Hi,
Josh.
how you doing?
Hey. I saw you dancing with me, and
Yeah,
just 50 minutes ago.
Hey, come on
So,
now.
yeah, you know, so we know you just went full time, right? Congrats. So
Okay.
when you call somebody to book them for the webinar, you use a Steam script towards the end, and you know that they have a lot of great qualities that you're looking for. How do you end that conversation to book their webinar? Like role play with me real quick, right? So you get to the end, you find out I have management skills, you find out I have people skills, and you're at the end of the script, you're about to book me. How do you do it?
That's typically it's just going to be, I'm really interested in working further with you and getting to know you more. The first step of this process we have is a webinar. We typically run it 10, 2, and 7. Which one of those times would work best for you?
7.
Depending on the time of day. Like if it's later, I would obviously leave out the ones that need.
7.
Yeah, 7. Excellent. Well, I just need to get your email address, and then I will register you for the webinar, and then we'll have a follow-up email that will be sent out to you. And then, if they're going to be 7, I would ask, would you be available at 7:45 for a follow-up call?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Now, do you set up the follow-up right then and there, or what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I want to do it right after they watch it. Yeah. So my goal,
Okay.
my preference would be like, unless I have more, 2 or something, I would just space them out like 30 minutes. But yeah,
Okay.
by 8 o'clock, I'd like to have a follow-up conversation.
Okay.
Or-
Do you call them after the webinar, or do you call them before the webinar to set up the follow-up? Like, let's say you book me for tomorrow at 7, right?
Okay.
And tomorrow comes in the morning, we're in virtual office. Do you call me, the morning of or the day of before the webinar to book the follow-up and confirm me? Or do you wait till after 7 o'clock to call me to follow up?
I mean, I'd be calling you before to verify that you received the link for the
Okay.
webinar, and then set up. If I hadn't already set up the follow-up, then I would do it then. Yeah.
Okay, good job, Josh. Give it up for
All right,
Josh.
thanks. Yeah.
All right. So
Thanks.
how to invite? Yes, use a Steam script, guys. So again, don't focus so much on word for word. Obviously, you want to follow up a skeleton script, right? I don't know why my screen's not coming up as fast here. Sorry, guys. Hopefully it'll come up soon. Great. Great. It sounds like you have a lot of great qualities we're looking for, Josh. I definitely would be interested in talking with you further about this, and you'll need more details as well. What I'd like to do is set up a time to meet, but before that, we require everyone to sit through our Vice President Shaquille's webinar first. That way you can get all the updated information you need to form the questions based on what you are looking for. Afterwards, we can meet on Zoom. If I like what I see in you and you qualify to work with us, as well as you like what you see in our company and you feel it's a good fit, then we can talk further. Is that fair? Do you have access to a computer or a tablet? Great. So we'll be using the Webinar Jam video technology. It will be 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. So I'm going to stop here real quick. So what Josh did, he gave 3 options. What we were taught, Josh, and this is not something I made up, we were taught to give out 2 alternatives only. Because if you give too much, it's too much for them to think. And you want to kind of do like a takeaway where, who doesn't know what a takeaway is? I love the takeaway. Who doesn't know? It's okay if you don't. Joanne, do you know what a takeaway is? No? Okay. Joanne, what's your favorite cookie in the whole wide world?
My favorite cookie?
Uh-huh.
Chips Ahoy, chocolate chip.
Okay, something you can bake.
Something like a bake. Red velvet.
Red velvet cookies. Oh my God, you're a little bit fancy, huh? Okay, so let's say I'm the best baker in the world, which I'm not. Okay, but let's pretend I am, and I bake a whole batch of red velvet, ooey gooey cookies. They're like so good. You smell them right before they even get out the oven, right? And there's 27 of us, 25 of us at the table. It's enough for all of us. I put the batch on the table. How many people would at least grab a cookie to try because they smell so good?
Probably everyone, right?
Everyone. But as much as you love red velvet cookies, if I take a whole cookie and I stuff it all in your mouth, can you eat it realistically all at once, or you're gonna have to take it bite, bite, bite?
Bite, bite, bite.
Bite, 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 right? So as good as the opportunity is, you have to give it to people bite, bite, bite. As good as the cookie is, people can't take it all at once. You have to give it bite, bite, bite. So when you do a takeaway and you kind of you want to make sure that they have limited options, because high demand, low supply, low supply, high demand, right? We only have the webinar at 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. Which works better for you, 10 or 2 for 45 minutes? So like Josh said, depending on the conversation, you're going to give them whatever option. So if you know that they work a 9 to 5, I know that they're only going to pick 7. So I'm going to purposely give them 10 a.m. or 7 or 2 p.m. or 7 because I know they're going to pick 7, right? That makes sense, Juwan?
That makes sense.
Perfect. So, Josh, it will be 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. with my vice president, Shaquille. Which works better for you, 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. for about 45 minutes? Okay, 2 p.m., great. You'll get a confirmation email from my VP, Shaquille Islam, with the webinar link. What is your email? Boom, boom, boom. Put the email down, confirm the last name if you don't have it. Great. I will also give you a courtesy call in the morning to make sure you were able to receive his email. It was great speaking to you. We'll talk then. Have an amazing day. So that's how our base, as far as anybody who works directly with me, we book that. And a lot of the script is really aligned with the original Steam script that Shaq taught us, because we want to be careful not to change too much so we can remain duplicatable. Any thing to add, Shondell?
No, I mean, the script is very much the same of what we're saying as well. If we're talking to people on the phone, I know we may have other people on here too that may be prospecting through LinkedIn. So we're not necessarily on the phone, but as far as the point with Josh about the follow-up, because you asked him, when do you schedule the follow-up? So for us, we do schedule the follow-up right away on the initial phone call. I think you guys, you set the follow-up when you confirm it in the morning before, right?
Yeah, we do.
Right. So those are just 2 slight changes, but both of them work as long as you schedule the follow-up close to after the time they watch the webinar. So we schedule it on the front end like Josh does in the initial conversation. Great. If we're going to schedule you at 7, then we can do the follow-up interview with you at 7:45 on Zoom. Does that work? Great. And then we schedule it then. For example, Jen will call in the morning and confirm, hey, just want to make sure you got the link for the 7 o'clock webinar. Great. Well, we can schedule your follow-up for 7:45. Does that work? Great. And so either way works. So you guys can choose, but that was my only add-in.
Right. The common denominator is you schedule the follow-up before the actual webinar is, no matter if you're calling to confirm or it's the initial conversation, because either way you're going to call to confirm, right, Shondell?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to wait. What you don't want to do is wait until last minute and you're like sitting around with an empty evening and you're like, let me call this person at 8 o'clock. Oh, I know they're going to show up. And then you're like in depressed mode because you're like expecting them to pick up your call, but then they no-show you after you poured out your feelings on the phone with them. Okay.
Right.
So, and I'm being dramatic, but yes, good job, Josh. Okay. So how to invite to the meeting. Let's see. Actually, you know what? How much time do we have?
Okay, it's 10:30. So we probably got
Okay,
like 10 minutes maybe.
I'll just keep going. So now we're at the follow-up meeting. So now either me or Shondell have set up a follow. We have confirmed them to be in the webinar, and now we know there's a follow-up. They attended at 7 p.m. The follow-up's at 8 p.m. immediately right after. Now we're in the meeting with them. How do you conduct a meeting? Because when people meet with you, they should see that there's some type of organization or structure, right? They're coming into a system and they need to know that if they do A, they'll get B. And remember, when you first meet with them on the phone, that's when the training really starts. Because how you approach them is how they're going to approach other people when they get into your business, right? So everything starts from the initial conversation. But let's talk about the follow-up. So I'm going to pick on Howell.
Yes.
Hey, so let's say you are in the follow-up. Shondell or I just got on with you. We just attended the webinar. We're excited. What do you go through? What do you ask to get to the close? How is your structure? So role play with me real quick.
So the first thing that I ask is, I guess, what stood out to them the most. I want to hear what they're most excited about. Sometimes they tell me that they like the opportunity to, or actually I ask them specifically, do they like the opportunity to make money? Do they like the opportunity to help people? They like the opportunity to do both, most. And then they tell me what it is. Sometimes they say both. And I kind of just ask to get a little feedback. I ask them, okay, what is what stood out to you guys the most? Like, did you like, I don't know, the concepts? Did you like being able to replace your job? Like, I just want them to tell me exactly what they found most appealing.
Okay. So real quick, not to interrupt you, but role play with me as if I
Oh,
just got.
sorry.
No, that's okay. So I get on. I'm excited. How are you doing?
Great. So, Jennifer, I'm very, very curious. What stood out to you the most? The opportunity to help people, the opportunity to make money, both. What was it?
Of course, I originally came on to make money, but I really like helping people. So both.
Excellent, excellent. And was there something in the webinar that really just caught your attention that you feel you can really get behind? Some people like the idea of just the financial literacy stuff. Sometimes they like the idea of just being able to make some money part-time. What was it for you?
I feel like learning about money is always beneficial, but really the story that I think his name was Mr. Shaquille. He was sharing his story and how he got started. It was just really eye-opening, and how much he could change. Like, you can make a change in your life.
Excellent. And I totally agree with that, because when I first got a chance to meet Shaquille and when I first got exposed to Primerica, I was able to relate a lot to Shaq and his career path and how he was looking to do something better so that he can, just take control of his career. So with that said, what I'm going to go over with you is I'm going to show you exactly how all this is done, because I know that there's usually a lot of questions. By the way, Jennifer, do you have any lingering questions, or do you just kind of want to know how to get started?
Oh no, I'm all for this. I want to know how to get started.
Excellent. So Jennifer, basically, we're gonna do a few different things. Number one, I want to actually from right there, I'm kind of stuck, so I'll let somebody else
Okay,
go.
good job so far. Good job. So you started out perfect. So what I would suggest, and again, you guys, and this is good. This is not just for Joel, but everyone. Okay. When you meet with somebody, and I did this a role play on purpose, because when we role play, you want to make sure that you get it right in practice. Perfect practice makes perfect, not practice makes perfect, right? So when you go into practice, this is a drill for skill type of training that we're running here, because if you sound a certain way, good or bad, that's going to translate to that person, right? And remember, people are coming in to change their life. You're recruiting them not into Primerica, but out of their nightmare. So when they see you, they hear you, they want to hear passion. They want to hear like you really love what you do here, right? So you can be calm like Shaq or Joel, but can I feel that you love what you do here, right? Are you excited? Because if you're excited, I want to be excited, but are you also firm at the same time? So Joel did the right thing by asking, hey, what interested you more, making money, helping people, or both? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, this is what we asked. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, after everything Shaquille went over, how would you rate your motivation to get licensed in DC with us? Now, I put their states. So if I already talked to them in the beginning, I know that they're coming from Tennessee or whatnot, right? I say that only, and I don't know if it makes a huge difference. What I found is that it just seems a lot more, formal in their mind, where they know that they're going to get licensed with the government, okay, or the state, right? They say, oh, a 10. Do you have any questions, or you just want to know how we would get started? Exactly what Joel just did. So what does this question do? One, you want to get out the objections out of the way, because if you're going through all of these prerequisites and you're trying to get them to get their IBA submitted, but then they hit you with, wait, at the Visa or debit card, when the money comes up, then it starts getting funny, right? Now they say, actually, I have a question. You just went through the whole 5 minutes of the IBA, waste of time, and they got like 5 questions you didn't answer, right? So you want to get all the questions out of the way. And even if you guys are, in your mind, are not sufficient in your standard yet answering questions, just answer the question anyways, because you might, even if you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So sometimes you got to understand it's not always you, sometimes it's them, okay? So don't beat yourself up too much, like Shondell said, but use them as practice to answer some questions, right? But if they say, I just want to know how to get started, that just means, hey, let's go ahead and get the IBA done. Now, one thing that if there's questions, of course, answer them. What Jenny, myself, Cheryl, Bao, we always go into our personal story. So let's say I asked Shondell, hey Shondell, do you have any questions or just want to know how we would get started?
I just want to know how we get started.
Okay, great, awesome. Well, before I go into some prerequisites, let me share about how I started first, because this is not just about Primerica. A lot of individuals like yourself come from different areas, come from different backgrounds that are not finance. So I work by working 80 hours a week at 2 restaurants, and then I go forward with my personal story, right? It should be 3 minutes or less. Then once I end the story, they hear Shondell's story, they hear Joel's story, they hear my story. They're like, wow, right? They should be like, wow, because your story should be where I was, where I am, where I'm going. People don't follow you for where you are, they follow you for where you're going. So if where you're going is where it aligns with where they're going and they can see the light at the end of the tunnel, hearing your story, they're more likely going to submit that IBA because they're in a nightmare. You're not, right? And even if you know that you're, like Shondell said, if you're not at 10 double digit, you're crashing and burning. That's the right thing. How many times have you guys hit only 3, 4, 5 recruits and like 90% of them quit the next day and you're crashing and burning mentally, right? That's why you want to go double digit recruit. Anyways, they go through, they say, wow, at your personal story. Then I go, oh, well, listen, thank you so much. But as great as my story is, that your story will be different. As great as our opportunity is, we still are pretty serious about what we do. So we do have 4 prerequisites that you'll have to meet or else this may not work, right? Number 1, go through the criminal background in case they have a criminal background. Number 2, go through the 2 exams and how they have to score 70%. Number 3, go through the 124 and see if you can get their commitment today to get that. Number 4, Saturday morning training, because, and I got this from Thomas, I want to credit him for the right way. You got to show up to blow up, guys. You got to show up to blow up. Showing up is the lowest level commitment. But if your people are not showing up, then they can't be helped, right? There are a lot of times where people don't have the 124 immediately then, but then we get them to show up on Saturday morning and they see everyone. They see Top Gun. They see the people that are getting recognized for getting licensed. They see real people. They see 150 people. They can probably negotiate you and fight you, but how are they going to fight a whole group of 150 people? You can't fake that. You know what I mean? Like they can challenge you, but they're not going to challenge 150 people, right? So get them to commit to Saturday morning, whether or not they have the 124. And so let me ask a question really quick. I'm going to target somebody. Miss Caroline, question for you. If you can unmute yourself, madam.
Okay.
And you may or may not know the answer, but you're in training with me, so hopefully you do, or else I'm not your trainer. So if you're meeting with a follow-up, you go into the prerequisites, right? This person has not worked for 2 months. So it's a really good chance that they probably don't have the 124, themselves, right? They could get it, but if you know for sure how you get to the 2 exams, they say no problem with the exams, you're about to ask for the commitment for the 124. How do you do that if this person has not worked for like 2 months without kind of being too, I guess, pushy or aggressive?
I'm going to say I don't know.
Okay, let's pretend this is a real follow-up. What would you say? You're on the spot now.
Okay. So the scenario is they haven't been working and I'm about to ask for the 124.
Yes.
Okay. I would try to think of some way of framing the question where it's a win-win for them.
What question would you ask?
Who or what are the possibilities of you acquiring the 124?
Okay, good start. Good start. There's no right or wrong question here because it's not a script, okay? So I just want to see how creative you guys can get. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, and the quality of your questions determine the quality of your results, okay?
All right.
So that was very good. Let's see. Thank you, Miss Caroline. I'm gonna pick somebody. Jada Samira with the video off. Jada Samira.
Hi.
Hey, Jada, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. Who you work with?
Josh.
Awesome. Yeah, Josh is amazing. Obviously, you should be in his training, right? Awesome. So, what would you say once you get to the follow-up, right? You just found out they don't have a criminal background. You got their commitment. They're cool with the 2 exams, and now you're about to get a commitment for the 124. But you know they haven't been working for a couple months. Well, how would you get to that commitment?
Honestly, I was thinking along the same lines as Miss Caroline. That's kind of the direction I would go. So I'm trying to think of something different.
So you guys are all cheaters, okay? Copying and pasting. Okay, just try. Give me one question.
If they can't do it today, then I would probably, my next choice would be, well, to do another follow-up to see if I could get them to commit in the next couple days.
Okay, that's good. However, you don't know if they can't do it yet because you haven't asked them yet. All right, you can't assume anything, right? But you know there's a potential they could not have it.
All right, Jenny.
Yeah, nope, I'm stuck.
Okay. I know Jenny knows. Jenny.
So basically I'll ask them, so let's talk about the 124. Do you have the money today? And they said they say no, right? That's when I would say, okay, so when can you have the 124?
Okay, that's good.
And then from there, sometimes they'll say, I don't know. So that's when I'll ask them, what are your goals? And then they'll tell me where their goals
Okay.
are. Then,
all right. So I gotta interrupt you real quick. Because we don't have a lot of time. Sorry, Jenny. But when you go through those questions, you want to just ask a question or two, right? When somebody has a potential of not having the 124, this is how it's worked for us. So Shondell, now the 2 exams are great. However, these are state exams, so we're going to cover 90% of it. And what you're responsible for is for the studying material and part of the background check. That's going to be only $124 on your part. However, I do know that you haven't been working for 2 months. So I don't want you to be stressed about something, obviously this is a great opportunity, but how would you even cover the 124? Because I know you're not working and you eventually have to get that done and get licensed.
I mean, I'm really excited about the opportunity, so I could probably see if I can talk to my sister or something and then maybe get her back later or something like that.
Okay, great. Well, the good news is that we pay you back $100 once you pass your test. However, one thing I do not feel comfortable with is your sister paying for something, and I haven't talked to her first, okay? And because if she's gonna help you, we're gonna need her debit and Visa card. And if I were her, I wouldn't give my debit or Visa card if I haven't talked to your supervisor yet, okay? So what I wanna do is make sure she says that she actually believes that you're gonna get licensed because this is money you're gonna pay her back as long as you get licensed. So I need her word, to let me know that she actually knows you're gonna get licensed. So what's her name? What's her number?
Shannon and
whatever, right? Does she know you're in an interview right now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if I call her as a character reference for you and ask a couple questions about you, I know she won't have an issue, right?
Nope.
Great. I'm gonna call the sister right now. Because you know what? If I don't get the 124 from the sister on the phone, Shondell's not gonna get it. She don't know how to do it. You gotta control the point of contact. So I didn't say, do you have the money? I said, how would you even get the money? But the way that I asked it, it was like a takeaway. It's like, oh shoot, if I say no, I may not get this opportunity. I'm not asking you to put it up. I'm just asking you, how can you put it up, right? And cover that, because we covered 90% of it. Shondell, anything?
Yeah, so my follow-up process, I'm just gonna bullet point it, guys, for you really quick. So typically when I get on, if I get on with Jen, usually I just start off and say, thank you so much, Jen, for getting on the follow-up with me. Really excited, hopefully got a lot of great information from Shaquille. But what I usually like to do is just find out a little bit more about you really quickly here, just briefly. And then I'll tell you a little bit about me, because if this ends up being something where it's a mutual fit and we work together, I'll be training you directly. And then so I go into just asking them a little bit about their current work situation, so on and so forth. If I didn't have that conversation with them already on the phone, then I'll ask them what kind of stuck out to them the most about the webinar, kind of similar to what Hoel said. And then I'll tell them my personal story. And then from there, I'm gonna ask the 3 paths. I know from the 20-minute animated video, it's like, hey, 1, you wanna learn about becoming a client, 2, part-time, or 3, run a business here. So I just ask them those 3, which one do you think appeals to you the most? And then they'll tell me one of them. And if it's a client, then like option number 1, I'll just try to set up an appointment with them. I'm like, so you don't think that the opportunity would be good for you? Not at this time, but I would love to get a financial plan. I'll ask them some questions just to get some more information. And then I'll try to set up an appointment if it's worth my time to do that appointment. If it's 2 or 3, part-time or run a business here, then I'll go into our asking if they have any additional questions, right? And then once I answer those questions, then I go into my prerequisites, which are very similar to Jen's, talking about the background check. Then we're going to schedule an orientation right away within 24 to 48 hours. We have a fast start meeting right after that. And then we're going to start your field training, which includes 10 training presentations where you're going to watch me in a qualified market, which is married, kids, or couples. And we have a Saturday training from 9:30 to 11:30. So those are my prerequisites. And then I'll just ask, so on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your excitement to pursue the licenses? And then I just move forward from there. So if people have concerns about the 124, then I'll address that. I usually, if they don't have it, to be honest, we run so many numbers within our team. If they don't have the money, I just say, all right, well, when you just gotta wait till your next paycheck or whatever the case may be. Oh, I don't know, I'm not gonna have it for like 2 months. Okay, great. Well, you can give me a call back. My door's always open, and then I move on. So I don't really press too much. If they have it, they have it. We move forward. If they don't, hey, we'll follow up about it. So that's my follow-up process.
Nice, awesome. I think I don't know if we have time for questions because we have Eric and Amber Davis for the qualifiers.
So we gotta wrap up.
Okay, cool. So the key is, guys, in order to double-digit recruit, you gotta have 10 in weekly attendance. That's it. That's as simple as it gets. If you don't have 10 in attendance, you're crashing and burning. You gotta have 10 in weekly attendance to guarantee you're gonna have double-digit recruiting coming through in the month. But the key word is consistently, okay? 10 in consistent weekly attendance. If you're not hitting 10, do not be shocked if you're not at double-digit recruiting. That's it. I hope you guys got a lot. Let's book a bunch of appointments. If you guys are under Shaq, then we have our QA setting blitz. And for the qualifiers, we have Eric and Amber Davis. I'm so excited. Let's book this whole week out. Forget about the next 2 weeks. This week is what matters, and today is what matters, okay? Let's get it popping.
Awesome. If you guys do have questions, just hit us up. Hit us up individually. We're here to answer those, and we'll go from there, guys. Thank you so much.